Ma'am, I welcome you to this session and I welcome all the participants and all the watchers to, and I introduce ma'am to this session. Today we'll be discussing on the overview of the IT rules 2021. Rachita ma'am, who is an advocate at the Delhi High Court, is present with us today. She's an LLM postgraduate with Certificate of Specialization in Cyber Laws. She has rich experience of working with various government bodies, including the Ministry of Law and Justice and Ministry of Home Affairs. She's currently into practice since 5 years and takes up cases pertaining to diverse field of laws, including cyber law, corporate. Delighted to have you here, ma'am, on our panel today. We'll start with our discussion on the overview of IT rules whenever you're ready. Over to you, ma'am.
I may just add before Rachita starts, she's also practicing law in Delhi High Court for last more than 5 years and one of the best lawyers in the cyber laws. So welcome you, Rachita, on our board, and I request you to begin with today's session. Over to you, Rachita.
Thank you so much, Nitesh. Thank you, everyone. So I hope that I'm audible now clearly. Okay, so I'll start with it. So today we are talking about Information Technology Intermediate Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. As we all are aware that this came into enforce on 25th February 2021 by the Government of India through Official Gazette. So the question arises here, why do we require this kind of legislations along with the new rules or regulations where we used to have SPDI rules of 2011, which already came into enforce in April 2011. Well, the government thinks that we need something to regularize in a better manner with these OTT platforms. So I'll proceed further to explain it better to you guys. There are two legislations. So there are two primary things. First is to regularize them, and second is to censorship the online content which is not required or maybe which is going to affect the impressionable minds. So why do we need? One thing is there that we needed for the purpose of online content. Reason being that online content is such a diverse field, like we are watching all kind of web series nowadays, like Netflix, Balaji, Eros, and many other OTT platforms, right? So to regularize that, this rules came into force. And we must have seen or read in the newspapers or even the live laws that the WhatsApp, Facebooks are going against these rules. So I'll just give a brief idea about it, that what it's all about, what these rules are talking about. So these rules generally divided into three parts, primary goals. One is to increase the accountability for the intermediaries. Second, to regulate the publication and transmission of online content. So now, earlier as we all know, that intermediaries regularization is already given under Section 79. And the protection was given under Section 79 of the IT Act, that is Section 79, subsection 3. But the coverage is given to them, but we need more laws to regularize in a better manner. So this legislation came under subsection 1 and clause Z and ZG of subsection 2 of Section 87 of the IT Act 2000 2000. So, and central government clearly stated in their official gazette that this rules came to suppress the SPDI rules of 2011. So now this whole rules is divided into three parts. One is due diligence by intermediaries. So as we all are aware, what are intermediaries? Intermediaries are the, as we can say, it's a bridge between the consumer and the online content so that you can watch it. It basically provides you the platform to watch all online content. So intermediaries includes internet, telecom service providers, online marketplaces, which we all know, e-commerce and etc., and social media platforms. So the due diligence by intermediaries consists of three things mainly. So what government wants them, basically, it's one of them is informing users about the rules and regulations. So if any OTT is coming up with the OTT or any social media platform, like any intermediaries come up with the new laws or with new rules or with the new policy like WhatsApp, we all know. So they have to inform the users priorly before asking them to accept that. And it could be policies or terms and conditions or its usage of its services. So second is blocking access of unlawful information within 36 hours upon an order from the court. So now the intermediaries have to block the unlawful content which the government or the court feels that it's unlawful within 36 hours. That is the liability given to the intermediaries, and that is a compulsion on them. So third, further we proceed. So third point is retaining information collection for the registration of a user of 180 days. So now the intermediaries can only collect the information or store the information of the user for some account, Netflix or whatever, Balaji or Amazon Prime. Suppose if you have an account on there and you have withdrawn yourself and you want to delete your account, after that, the intermediaries can store that only for 180 days, but not more than that. So that is, again, it's a compulsion to the intermediaries that they cannot store your information more than 180 days. And if intermediaries it's required, then they can report to the cyber security incidents also. Like intermediaries feel that there are some cyber crimes on that. So they can report these incidents to CERT-In. Now, CERT-In is an organization, again, under the Ministry of Home Affairs, which was constituted under Section 70A of the IT Act. So this is about the one part, that is due diligence, which they have to comply by the intermediaries. Second, we talk about the significant social media intermediaries. Now, what are the significant social media intermediaries? That is, which are into the important roles. So the government has specifically specified some of the registered users, like they have given some registered users that will be known as a significant social media intermediaries. So government, till now, the central government has specified 50 lakhs registered users in India as a threshold. And after that 50 lakhs threshold, whatever the intermediaries will be there, they will be known as a significant social media intermediaries. And additional to that, and it is observed by the intermediaries that they have to comply with the other three things, like appointing a chief compliance officer. Before that, there was no compulsion on the intermediaries to appoint a chief compliance officer. We required this so that time to time, like if government is giving with some rules and regulations, so they have to comply with it. And for the compliances, they can authorize one officer which they have to appoint. So that is a chief compliance officer. And also they have to appoint a separate grievance officer in case you feel that your data is being misused by Amazon's, Paytm, and then Netflix, Prime, whatever. So if you feel that your data has been misused, or even including suppose their websites, and if you have read in the newspapers, recently there were two incidents. One was of the Air India and second is of the Domino's, where the data was leaked. So for these kind of grievances, you can definitely complain to the grievance officer, which is there in the new rules now. Third, and the most important thing, the government has put burden on this intermediaries, rather than burden, I would say compliance. It's publishing a monthly compliance report. So that's a very interesting point, that now intermediaries have to give their every month compliance report to the government of India, that whatever complaints or whatever compliances they have to do, whether they have done it within the time frame or not, for that they have to submit monthly reports to the government of India. Okay, so after that, intermediaries, we know that it provides messaging as a primary service and must enable the identification with the first originator. So if you have read in the newspapers that the WhatsApp filed a petition in Delhi High Court related to one clause, that is traceability clause, that is Rule 4 Sub-Rule 3, which talks about traceability. Traceability is like who is the first originator. Now here what we mean about that, suppose if you're forwarding a message on a WhatsApp and it's keep on forwarding. So if government feels that there is some threat to the government of India or to the nation, or it disturbs the public order, or it's the security or national integrity would be in a problem. So they may ask that who is the originator of that particular message, that the compliance they have to do. But for that, the WhatsApp came into the court and said that we cannot say this, we cannot tell you the first originator, as it will breach the privacy. Well, this we yet to see that what will be the court's view on that. So there are 4 things basically under section 69 of IT Act, which speaks about 4 things, that is sovereignty, integrity, public order, and the government has recently included sexual violences. As we all are aware, like after COVID, this online thing came into a picture, even for the students to take their online classes, whether from schools or colleges or even we as a lawyer. So there are so many sexual offenses on that. So for restricting that sexual violences also, the burden is put on intermediaries now. And intermediaries have to disclose this information to the government for sure, either the government or to the court, depends on the order. So now next part we talk about the code of ethics for digital media publishers. So what is the code of ethics for digital media publishers? So now the government has defined even the ethics. So there are rules which prescribe for the publishers. These are like, first of all, that is news and current affairs content providers. So now it's not like that anyone comes up with a new news and then they, sorry. Yeah, anyone is asking something? Okay, I'll just proceed further, I think. So one is news and current affairs content providers. So now the news channels even cannot just come up with any news and pop up in the next day on the newspaper and saying that, okay, this is the news, this is against the government or against the public or whatever. You cannot actually publish anything, whatever you want. You have to check its source and its authenticity before publishing it. Second is that the online curated content providers, which is also known as OTT platforms. So now OTT platforms have to regularize themselves before the government comes with the censorship on them. Like as we have seen, like I am sure many have seen these, so there are so many abusive words in that. So the government wants that OTT platforms curate its online content before publishing it in the platform with the public domain. So third is, and an interesting part is that they come up with the codes for these two, basically for the news and for the program code. For these, we are having 2 legislations also. Like for program code, it will go under the Cable Television Network Regulations Act 1995. So where we never used to give that much importance to this regulation, now it will play a better role. And for journalists also, it is formulated by the Press Council of India. So now Press Council of India has to see what kind of news is being publishing on the news channels or in the newspapers. So fourth is like, and for OTT platforms, the requirement includes, like what are the requirements they have to comply under the code of ethics is that first is that they have to verify the age, the appropriate age of the user. And they have to classify this, like this content can be seen by the 18 years of age group or above 18 years of the age group. And then they have to implement an age verification process. Like we all are aware, like whenever we're getting our accounts on the Gmail, YouTube, WhatsApp, we have to go for age verification that we are above 18 years of age. So OTT platforms have to come with this process. And besides that, their parents have to comply with this also. Like they have to give assurance, but how they are going to give, that is yet to say, because for that SOPs are yet to be made. And the last one is like for OTTs, there's another provision the government has put, that is to improve the accessibility of the content for disabled person. So now it's not like if somebody is a disabled person, so they can't really go and access about it. They can really access the now OTT platforms. They have to make that platforms disabled for the disabled people. It should be friendly to disabled people so that they can use it well. The other, the important rule, the important wrestle, as I have already said, that there should be a grievance officer. They have to appoint a grievance officer, but there is a mechanism for that. So the grievance officer, they have to address all the complaints and the violations. Like whatever, if there is any violation by the users for the rules, so they have to comply with it. And he has to acknowledge the complaint within 24 hours. Yes, so it's not like that you have just made the complaints and he can sleep over that. He has to acknowledge that complaints for within 24 hours. And then he has to dispose the complaints within 15 days. So now it's a very important role that this comes with the time frame. It's not like that he will take a month or 2 months or maybe a year. He has to. And in case of digital media publishers, news and all, there are 3 types of grievance redressal, which is a very interesting one. That basically this all rules, we talk about intermediaries, which includes telecoms, publishers, and OTTs. But what I have analyzed after going through these rules, that this is more to regulate OTT platforms. And why is that so? Because there were several PILs and complaints that this content should be regulated, like as we were in the lockdown last year. So we were all pro. So this is the main reason for this. So now what are the 3 grievance redressal mechanisms which the government has specifically asked for the intermediaries, especially the OTT platforms? One is the self-regulation by the publishers. So now the publishers cannot just escape their responsibilities. They have to regularize themselves first. Second is self-regulation by the self-regulating bodies of the publishing. So now there are different bodies under the publishers also. It's not just they only have to self-publishing only, but they have to self-regulating also with the self-regulating publishers. So it means like if you're having a sub-bodies, sub-regulating bodies, so all have to regulate themselves before publishing anything. And the third is oversight mechanism by the central government. So they have to comply whatever the government asks them. And I have already said that they have to dispose of the complaints within 15 days. And it's an oversight mechanism with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So it's not only with one ministry now, it's with entirely with some part of the ministries. These rules came into force by MeitY. But the suggestions were taken from MHA and everyone for the OTT. As we all know, once the petition goes to the court, so Union of India has always been the party. But when it's come to the online thing, so the MeitY is the Ministry of Electronics and Information Ministry, and other is Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. These 2 ministries have to play the important role. Last but not the least, blocking of content in case of emergency. It is very, very interesting clause. So here the government has said, like in case of emergencies, the authorized officer has to examine the digital media content, and the Secretary of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting may pass an interim direction for blocking that content. So now this power is given to Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, that after internal departmental committees and after internal discussions, if they feel that there is an emergency to block that particular content, so they don't need anything. They can just go and block the content. And in case of unapproval, suppose there is an unapproval from the committee, committee is convinced that the content should not be blocked, so the content has to be unblocked. That is also there. So power is specifically given to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. So these all are the major rules under this Indian Digital Ethics Code of 2020-21. Over to you, Nitesh. I hope that I have told many important parts of the rules.
Yeah, the session was really informative and covering all the aspects of the new rules, which has now come into the force. Now, I have one question, rather like, there is a question like, who could be these grievance officer? Like, is any qualification is prescribed for them?
No, not so far. The qualification is not prescribed yet because these rules came into the force. That, as I have said already, this SOPs has to be made. See, this the widely rules came up, and these came to regularize because last year we have seen that there were many petitions like PILs in the Supreme Court to regulate the OTT content. So this rules generally for the OTT content. So this yet to come with the person who will be the grievance officers and the compliance officers. This is yet to be notified by the government.
Okay. And another thing which comes into my mind is that, yes, the matter is being seized in the court. But one thing I wanted to ask in this regard, isn't the claim of WhatsApp to some extent is right in stating that the new rules nowhere prescribe that how much data they will store to what years? Like, it is all right from the government's perspective that yes, last user data has to be stored to need the information in case of some legal case, but yet for how much period they have to store. And yes, since the matter is in the court, we don't have to say much, but I'm saying the rationale, the rules are silent on this.
No, Nitesh, actually, why I'll explain you about this because this is an IT part actually. This is a technical part. The data is being stored for longer time period. Even we cannot tell you that. Even the WhatsApp can't tell that for how long this data is stored with them because these are stored on the form on which their whole data is being stored. And unfortunately, so far, we don't have any servers in India. So these servers are being installed either in US mainly to store all their data. So what we have asked for, we asked only for 4 things. That is the security, integrity, public order, and sexual violence. If there is any message related to that is being circulated on the OTT platforms, then they have to tell us the originator. So WhatsApp surely knows about the originator. The WhatsApp is denying. So example, suppose in WhatsApp, when you are forwarding the message, it generally says forwarded message. But when it's written that forwarded many times, so WhatsApp says that they don't know about it. So how does it know that the message has been forwarded many times? And then you can forward only that message once, like only one user at a time. You cannot like select 10 users at a time and send it to them. So this is all about the playing of words. What I guess that WhatsApp is trying to be a lawyer now in the court. So definitely a government have to me. It is not approved. The notice has yet to be issued. So let's see how far will it be going.
So what I have observed in this is now, so this has been a strategic war which has been started by India in regard to the WhatsApp's privacy policy, which they force on India to be accepted by everyone.
No, I don't agree with you, Nitesh, here because if you're aware that our minister, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, has already given a statement on news channels about the same, that we don't want to stop anyone. Like they wouldn't comply with any of the compliances within 3 months, so they are going to be banned. I'm sorry, they will never be banned. Even our country wants all the services given by the corporate offices. We are not against any of the policies or any of the OTT platforms. Rather, we only wanted to regulate. See, if the breach of privacy, even if they're talking about, these are all with reasonable restrictions. If we are aware of this KTS Puttaswamy judgment, it clearly says it is a fundamental right, but it's not an absolute right. It comes up with certain limited restrictions on them. So the restriction is only security, public order, and sexual violence, and I feel there is nothing wrong about it.
That's all from my side. If any of the viewers have their question, any question which you think is appropriate to be asked to ma'am, you are most welcome. If any of the viewers or participants want to have any question with ma'am with regard to this session, you are most welcome. Else we are going to conclude it.
I think they have all understood well. They don't have any questions.
Yeah. Since all the related questions I have posted, so maybe. So it's all from our side. Wonderful to have you here, Rachita, on our session and our YouTube channel. I think the most of the people will understand that what was the concept of bringing into these new rules, and they would get more information by this session. So
actually, Nitesh, I would request you one thing. Whenever we are going with the new rules of this 2021, we should put our side to SPDI rules, that is Security of Personal Data Rules of 2011, because this regulation came after suppressing that rules. See, that also regulating the intermediary somehow, but this came up with the strict rules and regulations. So we are having a time constraints, but that was also required to give a side.
So we'll
why this regularize the online content.
So we'll surely have another session on this with regard to the security of personal data rules, so that our viewers and the participants who are now the law students, though nothing regard to these has been taught in the colleges, surely they will also have more knowledge on the same, and they will enrich themselves with regard to these laws.
Indeed.
So, we would love to have you here on our channel again. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much, Nitesh.
And thank you all the participants for being there for the present session. Thanks a lot.